35 drivers, 16 nationalities, 3 champions, 1 world champion. Road to Indy TV.
On behalf of everyone at Cooper Tires, drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines come to life. John Fifford, it's time to go Indy Lights Racing.
Thanks so much, Rob Howden, as Rob will make his way over to the TV booth to carry the call for IndyCar TV for this, and IndyCar Radio, shall we say, for this race coming up. But myself, Rusty, Brian, and Tom will carry the action here on the public address system for you for this finale of the weekend for the Road to Indy drivers. After this, we'll have Stadium Super Trucks and the Honda Indy 200 for the NTT IndyCar Series. The teams roll away from the grid. This is a race with 2 pace laps, so they will come by the stripe twice here on the front straightaway. And on the second time, we'll line up in their rows of 2, and we will roll off on our race. 30 laps or 50 minutes, whichever occurs first. Rob has already introduced the starting grid to you as Oliver Askew, the points leader by 35 points coming into this race here in the late stages of the season. Rinus VeeKay, the other rookie we talked about, who will start in second position for Juncos Racing, 35 points back. Then it's another 36 back to Ryan Norman. Ryan has raced in the series before, so this is a repeat for him. He's a one-time winner already this year at Road America, so Ryan Norman would love nothing more than to turn that into a win here, but he's got his work cut out for him as he's starting back in row number 3. Robert Mcguinness, 4th in the points, only 9 points behind Ryan Norman, in a position potentially to take over that 3rd position in the points championship, the all-important points championship, because at the end of the rainbow, if you will, at the end of the season at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, the driver winning the championship has a guaranteed 3-race start in next year's NTT IndyCar Series.
All right, so it's Oliver Askew, Rinus VeeKay on the front row, Toby Sowery, Robert Mcguinness in row 2, Dalton Kellett, and the voice you just heard, Ryan Norman in row number 3. Aaron Telitz will start on the inside of row number 4 with David Malukas, and Lucas Cole will start 9th. Got a pair of pit reporters monitoring some storylines, something to watch for, and Rob Howden, another gorgeous day here in Lexington, Ohio. Michael kind of teased it, the tires for Oliver Askew. Going to be an interesting storyline here at the beginning of this race.
An absolutely gorgeous day. Couldn't ask for much more. 82 degrees here on pit lane and 110-degree track temperature. Fantastic. But you are right. One of the big things is I walked up and down pit lane, and we talked about it during qualifying. Oliver actually talked about it as well. They were able to save 1 set of sticker tires. The only driver on the grid, fresh Cooper rubber, and he's going to start from pole position. And that really comes to play, Nick, what we always have here at Mid-Ohio. This race, where it is midsummer, only 3 more events after it, it always seems to come down to be the turning point. Drivers in a good position are calm. They get good results here. If they're fast throughout the season, you're normally fast at Mid-Ohio. It's the drivers who potentially are in trouble. Rinus VeeKay is watching this championship slowly slip away. We got to see what happens here early on. Rinus needs a win. He cannot let Oliver get ahead of him. But again, Mid-Ohio, Nick, always one of those turning point events in the Road to Indy season.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's also been great to have an old friend of mine from WIMA in Lima, Ohio, one of our affiliates, joining us this weekend. He's done a great job. Alex Wolf, something you're watching for as we are moments away from going racing here in Indy Lights at Mid-Ohio.
Well, a couple of drivers that had trouble in yesterday's race 1. Aaron Telitz struggles with handling all throughout the weekend. Used the race 1 as a test session. He'll line up 7th today. And Toby Sowery with the only contact that necessitated a caution during the race yesterday. Dejectedly walked back to the trailer after he got back to the pits, and they made repairs. The front and rear wings changed on Toby Sowery's car. He rolls off 3rd. 2 drivers trying to turn the agony of yesterday into the ecstasy potentially of today.
Kyle, certainly the drivers on the front row, we've got our eyes on them. They're 1-2 in the points, but hard not to keep an eye on that bright yellow car as fast as Toby Sowery looked before the mistake yesterday.
He was flying yesterday before he made that mistake, and I actually had a chance to catch up with his engineer, Jeff Pickling, and I used to work with him for a little bit back when I was in Pro Mazda. he's done a really great job coming in there and kind of getting that program together. It sounds like he's brought a lot of stability to that team, and we're seeing that this weekend with some of the pace that Toby's had. So I think he'll be somebody to watch in the race today.
Yep, he was very fast, sliding all over the racetrack. Just made a mistake at the midway point of the race yesterday and tore up the front of that machine. That car is repaired, though, and he's got a pretty good starting spot right there at the inside of row number 2 in third. Top 2 in the championship make up our front row. They roar through the final couple of corners. We are getting set to go racing here at Mid-Ohio. It's Askew and VK on the front row. Askew gets a nice jump on the inside, and he'll grab the lead through turn number 1. Renus VK quickly ducks in line with Toby Sowery running in third, and Dalton Kellett has spun. Michael Young, we got cars going off the racetrack. Mcguinness, and it looks like Telitz as well as the leaders head to 1.
A tough break for Aaron Telitz and Malukas. So Oliver Askew with the lead, about 2 car length advantage over Renus VK. Then Toby Sowery's right there. That's a good battle for third. Malukas not one of the drivers in it. It was Robert Mcguinness, as Nick Yeoman had said. Nice battle. That's the battle for third. It is Renus VK and the machine of Toby Sowery.
Battle for second's not bad too. Renus VK trying to hold off Toby Sowery. Meanwhile, Oliver Askew with about a 2 car length advantage, as now we have a full course caution. Aaron Telitz spins on the opening lap for the 2nd straight day, Nick Yeoman.
Yeah, it was a multi-car accident. I'm not sure, Kyle Kaiser, if anyone necessarily got damage on this, but Dalton Kellett was the car that stopped in turn number 1. You're getting a first look at the replay of what might have happened. Looks like there was contact.
Looks like there was contact between Dalton Kellett and Robert Mcguinness. And like I was talking about yesterday, it's really tough to go too wide through there. It looks like, yeah, so the front right of Dalton Kellett touched the left rear of Robert Mcguinness. Might have just closed in a little bit. The grip outside there, it washes the car out, so I'm sure Robert was just trying to stay as low as he could.
Yeah, Mcguinness went through the grass after the contact, and Aaron Telitz did a really nice job of yanking the steering wheel to the right to try to avoid the spinning car of Dalton Kellett. Telitz went way off into the sand, and then Kellett's car kind of parked right at the exit of turn number 1. David Malukas did a nice job as well of jumping on the brakes. All told, that could have been a lot bigger than I think it ended up being.
Yeah, overall, not too much contact between the cars. Doesn't look like there's any terminal damage, just a lot of chaos in that first corner.
And the good news for a lot of those drivers, they're going to get a reset here as we see Dalton Kellett kind of hauling around the course, trying to catch the tail end of the field. Nobody, it looks like, has made a trip to pit lane, so it's going to be a restart of this event here at Mid-Ohio. Askew got off to a nice start. Renus VK jumped into second. Toby Sowery was entertaining looking at that second spot in that bright yellow car. That's when the full course yellow came out. So Sowery will restart this race in third. Ryan Norman is fourth. Lucas Cole, probably the biggest winner of that first corner accident, as he's vaulted from 9th up to the 5th position. We'll see if there's pace enough in that Bilardi car to stay there. David Malukas looks like he's going to restart in the 6th spot. Then you've got the cars that were involved in the incident. Robert Mcguinness is going to restart 7th. Aaron Telitz, after a trip through the kitty litter, will restart 8th. And Dalton Kellett, after stopping on the racetrack, will be shotgun on the field in 9th. So set to go racing once again here at Mid-Ohio. Looks like this is going to be an awful quick yellow, and I'm not sure. Yeah, Dalton Kellett's just making his way through the S's right now, so I don't think Kellett is going to catch the tail end of the field as they are lined up single file. In fact, Oliver Askew right now is just out of Thunder Valley and getting ready to approach the carousel. So Kellett will be buried in 9th position, quite a few seconds behind the rest of the field. But the good news is they are lined up and ready to go racing. Some different lines through the carousel for VK and Sowery as we are back to green flag racing. And Oliver Askew just rockets out of the final corner. He'll take about a 2 or 3 car length advantage over VK. Same gap from VK back to Sowery as the entire field roars out of turn number 1.
And that opening lap melee has certainly helped the machine of Oliver Askew. Toby Sowery looks to the outside of Renus VK in the keyhole, but every tire temperature pretty much the same. That battle for second as Toby Sowery nearly gets into the rear end of Renus VK. VK bobbles ever so slightly. Toby Sowery moves to the outside, the battle for second.
Outside, maybe not the way to go in turn 4. Let's see if Sowery can make it stick. Side by side, Renus VK to the inside. He'll have the advantage. Sowery then the over and under the switchback. Still can't make it stick. He still sits in third. How about another switchback trying to go to the outside through turn number 6? It is still Askew, VK, Sowery, the top 3.
Kyle, wherever Rinus VK was going, Sowery was going to the opposite side of the racetrack.
That almost looked choreographed. I mean, that was just amazing racing right there. Great respect from both drivers, but who this pays into the most is Oliver Askew, because now he's pulled away. His tires are up to temp. He has fresh tires, better than the rest of the field. It's going to be hard for Rinus to catch back up and get within that P2P range.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's hard for Rinus VK to run his race and hit qualifying style laps when he's got to worry about a car right behind him trying to make the pass. And Michael, the advantage in just one lap is 2.6 seconds. What a restart for Oliver Askew.
That was an amazing jump for Oliver Askew, and it helped by all that battling going back in the rear. Toby Sowery will not try to make a move on VK, but that's allowed Ryan Norman to close in for the battle for third position. Lucas Cole is in that 5th position. Right behind him, David Malukas 6th. Mcguinness and the machine of Aaron Telis trying to regain, but that battle for second, they're at it again.
Yeah, how about a little push to pass this time for Toby Sowery? And man, does he rocket right around Rinus VK. So move Toby Sowery, that 2 car, into the 2nd position. Then, now we've got Rinus VK trying to hold off Ryan Norman. A lot of push to pass that time by. Meanwhile, big opening gap for Oliver Askew.
Boy, Kyle, what a charge Sowery had heading down to the S's.
He just has a fast car. It seems like the setup that worked yesterday is also working today. The 2 fast cars between Sowery and Oliver are just flying on these opening laps.
So not what Rinus V and Juncos Racing wanted to see. We see David Malukas all over the rear wing of Lucas Cole as they approach the carousel. That's the battle for the 5th position. Cole swings a little wide through the carousel, gets those right side tires back to the red and white curbing and then back to the left. But David Malukas is all over him heading down the front straightaway. It's Askew, Sowery, VK, Norman, and then Cole, the top 5 as they head to 2.
Oliver Askew with that couple of second advantage over Toby Sowery. Sowery able to check out ever so slightly over Rinus VK. Now can Toby Sowery close on our leader, Oliver Askew. Now the battle for third. That's Rinus VK and the machine of Ryan Norman. Those 2 battling for that 3rd position. Norman with a nice launch out of the keyhole. Doesn't look like he'll have anything for Rinus VK down into turn number 3.
A good 1,000 feet separates Oliver Askew from Toby Sowery. Things bunch up just a hair as they all make that right-hander through turn number 4, uphill into turn number 5, hit that crest, and then back downhill. Oh, and Aaron Telis and Robert Mcguinness have both gone off course. They went wide into turn number 4. They hit China Beach, but was able to get back out. They're back out on the race course. Now Dalton Kellett catching up the rear of the field.
Yeah, those 2 had been battling ferociously for the 7th position over the last lap and a half. In fact, it looked like they were side-by-side drag racing down to turn number 4. Not exactly sure what happened, but it did look like Robert Mcguinness may have some wing damage to the front of that car. And again, Aaron Telis, another trip through the sand as his miserable weekend continues. Meanwhile, Oliver Askew has a 3-second lead. Sowery is 2nd. VK is 3rd. Ryan Norman not going away, though, Michael. He's just a couple car lengths behind VK for 3rd.
Yeah, and it was the last time through. He didn't get that great of a launch. Talking about Ryan Norman, that battle for the 4th position out of this keyhole portion of the circuit. Ryan Norman this time looks like Rinus VK may have hit the button. He's starting to close in ever so slightly on Toby Sowery, but Oliver Askew, a big lead to you, Dave, first.
Keep an eye on Ryan Norman. How good has this kid been lately? Remember, just a couple of weeks ago, he was 8th in points. Now he's rocketed up to 3rd. Single file now through turn number 5, uphill over that crest, hitting that red and white curbing now through turn number 6. Still single file here at Mid-Ohio.
Go to pit lane, an update from Rob Howden.
Indeed, Nick standing by here with the 27 of Robert Mcguinness. He's brought the car in here right now. They have front wing damage, so a wing getting set to go on. Jessica Mace going to work on trying to get a toe link replaced as well. Light bend in the left front toe link. The wing's going to go on. So issues here, of course, that contact with he and Telis. They're going to work to get this car fixed and try to get Mcguinness back out on track.
Kyle, what'd you see down there in turn number 4?
Yeah, that's a very challenging spot to put yourself on the outside for Telis, and it looked like Mcguinness just had a lot of understeer being on the inside and pushed wide right into Telis and took them both out. It was lucky that both cars were able to keep rolling.
So with the damage, Mcguinness is going to fall to 9th. Telis got back out of the racetrack. He runs in 7th ahead of Dalton Kellett. Askew's lead is 2.5 seconds. He's kind of cruising right now. Sowery runs in 2nd. We're watching that battle for 3rd, though, because Rinus VK's got about a 4-car length advantage over Ryan Norman and Dave first. They'll make their way down to turn 4. Looks like VK extending that lead over Ryan Norman.
Ryan Norman had a podium finish finish here at Mid-Ohio just last year, trying to equal that here this year. Still single file, let's call it 3 car lengths as he tries to catch up to that top 3. No changes, though, through turn 5 and 6.
Yeah, boy, the best battle on the racetrack now starting to set up. We're watching the onboard shot of David Malukas. His last couple laps, Kyle, he's been trying to work over Lucas Cole.
He is working him really hard right now. We got a good shot of the in-car, and I'm seeing him loose at every exit. He is pushing to get by him.
Yep, they're making their way through Thunder Valley. Malukas runs in the 6th position, trying to catch and pass that young Brazilian Lucas Cole, looking for a top 5 finish. It would be his first top 5 of the year, so this could be a big day for Lucas Cole. Those 2 drivers out of the final corner across the start-finish line. The advantage for Cole is just a couple car lengths, Michael Young. This battle for 5th, we're watching Cole and Malukas.
That all started on that last lap here in the keyhole. David Malukas got a great launch out of turn number 2, the exit of the keyhole, and that gave him that run down that long back straightaway. Really kind of caught him at the kink there. That is turn number 3. Let's see how that fares, that battle for 5th this time. Doesn't look like Malukas has enough, although he's on that button right now, starting to close in on Lucas Cole.
He's all over that rear gearbox of Lucas Cole and then hits to the outside. Can he make it stick? So far, he does not. Lucas Cole maintains the advantage. It's still about a half car length up over the hill in turn 5. Back downhill through turn 6. Call it a car length now as Lucas Cole extends that just a tad.
Al, I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but pulling off a pass on the outside there in turn number 4, that's a hard thing to do here at Mid-Ohio, isn't it?
It's fairly risky, and you're putting a lot of faith in that driver on the inside of you. So if you're not fully alongside him, which we saw David do, is just to back off and not present your car for an opportunity to get taken out.
And Malukas now is the part of the racetrack through Thunder Valley, through the carousel. Awful hard to pull off a pass, nearly impossible at this place.
It is extremely hard. Offline, there's very little grip, so if you put the car out there, you'll usually fall way back, almost out of the range of push to pass. So he did a really smart job by not risking his car, staying close, and giving it another opportunity this lap. He's right on his tail.
Can he set him up, Michael Young, down in the keyhole?
Outbreaks him ever so slightly now, a lot closer than he was last time by. Lucas Cole back in, stepping out of the exit of the keyhole. Now David Malukas hits that button again, closes in with the car length. Now draws side by side, takes a look to the outside, does David Malukas.
I wonder if he would pull a little Joseph Newgarden and show him something to the outside and then go inside. Malukas, though, around the outside, just like that, picks up the position. So David Malukas now running 5th. Lucas Cole back to 6th, back downhill under the Honda Bridge here at Mid-Ohio.
Kyle, I saw you start to nod. Setting up passes for turn 4 really starts with getting a good exit out of turn 2. You knew as soon as Malukas got off that corner well, he had a shot at that pass.
Yeah, they're showing the replay right now, and really that was all set up from his exit that he got out of the keyhole. The car looked like it was underneath him. He didn't get loose, got right on that button, and Lucas Cole isn't within range to use his push to pass. So that was just very textbook by David Malukas there.
Let's get an update on one of the Andretti Autosport drivers, Rob Howden. Robert Mcguinness was kind of clinging to championship hopes. How have the repairs gone on that 27 machine?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Nick, really impressive to watch this team, this Andretti Autosport team, go to work. They were in tandem, getting that toe link changed. As soon as the toe link was done, able to get the front wing back on. They've got the car repaired for Mcguinness. He's back on the racetrack because as a young driver here in his first year of Indy Lights racing, all track time is valuable. Get him back out there, give him a bunch of laps here at this track here at Mid-Ohio. It's a tough one to learn, and they'll want to get as many laps as they possibly can.
Yep, Robert Mcguinness is now 4 laps down, but we are still just in the first third of this race. 21 laps to go, 8 completed here at Mid-Ohio. Oliver Askew's lead over the last few laps is kind of stabilized. It's been right at about 2.4 to 2.8 seconds. This last time across the line, it's at 2.7 seconds. It looked like what's getting interesting, maybe that battle for second as Toby Sowery has it and Rinus VeeKay is starting to close. They're making their way through the carousel. In fact, Sowery way offline. He kind of arcs it really wide through the carousel. He'll stretch it out to about 3 or 4 car lengths over Rinus VeeKay. But VeeKay and Norman, Michael Young, both giving chase to that bright yellow car of Toby Sowery exiting turn number 1.
Yeah, I think Rinus VeeKay has the best car right now, although last time by, I think it was a little closer to Toby Sowery. Robert Mcguinness is about 2-3 seconds ahead of his teammate Oliver Askew, who has the lead. Toby Sowery second, then Rinus VeeKay third. Ryan Norman in that 4th position. And Malukas starting to check out a little bit over Lucas Cole.
Oliver Askew can look ahead and see the lap machine of Robert Mcguinness. Both of those guys now going through turn number 5, single file, as Rinus VeeKay closes a little bit up on Toby Sowery. Make it 2, now 3 car lengths as Sowery gets a better exit off turn number 5. Single file again under the Honda bridge.
Kyle, I mean, Toby Sowery super impressive at the start of this race of making that early pass by Rinus VeeKay, but this is the type of championship stuff you like to see from Rinus, right back in the action and starting to put the pressure on our second place running car.
Similar to what we saw yesterday, it seemed that Rinus's car comes in just a little bit later in the run. So those early laps really do hurt him, and right now his job is to just try and get by Toby and close that gap.
It's about 3 or 4 car lengths out of the carousel across the start-finish line to complete lap number 10. Rinus VeeKay just 0.6 of a second. Michael, he can hammer that push-to-pass button. He's just about 3 car lengths as they make their way towards you in the keyhole.
Visually closer this time. They've actually checked out. I'm talking about second and third over Ryan Norman, who runs in that 4th position. So Rinus VeeKay launches out of the keyhole, trying to catch second place Toby Sowery. It's still about a 6 to 7 car length advantage. Toby Sowery over Rinus VeeKay. That battle for second, Dave First.
Yeah, just not going to happen this time around anyway. Sowery maintains that advantage. Rinus VeeKay closes to in 3.5 or so. He's trying to make up that ground that he lost in the initial couple of laps here at Mid-Ohio. Not going to happen right now. It's still Askew, Sowery, VeeKay, the top 3.
So here's how we run with 19 laps to go at Mid-Ohio. Oliver Askew has a 2.7 second lead over Toby Sowery. Askew looking for his 6th victory of the season. That would lead all drivers. He is also the points leader, looking for the weekend sweep. Toby Sowery runs in second. He's got about a 4 car length advantage over Rinus VeeKay. Then about 1.3 seconds back behind VeeKay in third is 4th place running Ryan Norman. David Malukas runs in 5th. Lucas Cole is 6th. Aaron Telitz is 7th. Dalton Kellett is 8th, and Robert Mcguinness is 4 laps down in the 9th position. Good opportunity as things have gotten a little spread out to check in with Rob Howden to talk about some of these fantastic stories in the Road to Indy.
Yeah, Nick, 3 different programs here from the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, all double headers, and a second race of our USF 2000 component. It was this driver from New Zealand, Hunter Mccelroy. He's got the smile of the winner on his face right now. Hunter, tremendous run, of course, able to get out front early. You just turned absolutely magic laps, and the win is one thing. Maybe even more importantly, you're able to close up on the point leader, Braden Eves, because you're thinking about this championship. You're thinking about the scholarship to go to Indy Pro. Let's start by talking about the performance you put in today.
It was pretty much a perfect race. You know, I knew Christian was going to be hard to beat. He had new tires, and we used our new tires up yesterday. So I knew I just had to get a good start and just hit my marks. So the first few laps he was quick, but we just managed to slowly edge away. And then after that, it was just being consistent and yeah, perfect race. I mean, led every lap, fastest lap, and cruise to the finish. So when it goes like that, it's pretty awesome.
Obviously, one thing to talk about is the fact that the Pabst Racing team, you guys rolled off the trailer incredibly fast. Did you guys make a lot of adjustments throughout the weekend, or was it just kind of fine-tuning to the cars to handle the different, the different conditions that Mid-Ohio throws at you?
Honestly, I think all year our baseline has just been getting better and better. I mean, ever since we're in America particularly, we've ridden really fast. And it's a credit to the team, it makes my job a lot easier. When you roll out of the truck fast and your car's in the window, half your job's done. So obviously with the track condition, everyone's got to tune it with the IndyCar rubber and things like that. But overall, it's just really good to have such a good car under me, and it gives me a lot of confidence into the last 2 rounds of the season.
Speaking right now with Hunter Mccelroy from Pabst Racing, the winner today, his 2nd win in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. Start of the season, you come in, you watch Braden Eves win 5 of the first 7 races. Was there a thought in your mind that, man, this thing could be getting away, or did you sit down with team owner Augie Pabst and come up with a plan just to keep chipping away at it?
I knew obviously it's pretty frustrating when that happens, especially when we had, I think, pretty much on the podium second or third every time. So, we just kept chipping away at it, and now, the momentum's with us now. So that's what happens in championships. They're never over till they're over, and yeah, you just got to keep pushing on. So, like I said, it's a credit to the Pabst Racing guys. we have the quickest car at the moment. So plan is to keep doing that and keep scoring great results.
Congratulations on a great win today.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Nick, second win of the season for this young driver from New Zealand. He won the $200,000 scholarship last year in Arizona, and he has got the momentum behind him, as does Christian Rasmussen. We've got a championship as they're both trying to chase down Braden Ease, USF 2000. That scholarship to go to Indy Pro, definitely up for grabs. Portland and Laguna Stake is still to go.
Yeah, I can't wait, Rob. It's always cool to see the dreams come true when some of these drivers make their way up the road to Indy ladder, trying to get to Indy Lights and then ultimately a chance to race in IndyCar. Kyle, you've been kind of watching the lap times and the deficits the last couple laps, and Toby Sowery all of a sudden has kind of turned it up to 11 and found some speed in that BN racing car.
Precisely. So when we were away, actually, we saw that Robert Mcguinness was getting lapped because he had issues earlier in the race. But what that allowed is the cars that had a gap off of Oliver Askew were unable to use push to pass until they caught up to Robert Mcguinness. So those cars that may have had a big gap got to use that push to pass on the back straightaway. They closed nearly half a second gap in one lap. So they're right about that range now. It's almost 1.5 exactly. So this could get interesting for the lead.
Michael, can Toby Sowery run down our race leader, Oliver Askew?
Visually, he's a lot closer than he has been, even closer than that last time by. Toby Sowery breaks late into the turn. That car looks fantastic through the keyhole. He launches out of this keyhole portion, turn number 2. Boy, it really looks like he got a great launch. Closes it down to about 15 car lengths. It's about within that second and a half, Dave.
Pretty evenly spaced. 1, 2, 3. Askew hits the brakes about the 150-foot mark as they now make that right-hander through turn number 4. Again, that space not really going anywhere, but Sowery is not letting Askew get too far ahead either. It's still Askew, Sowery, VK, Norman Malukas, the top 5.
And Alex Wolf, this is a pretty cool story because yesterday you saw that BN Racing team go to work after that accident for Toby Sowery.
Yeah, just under 24 hours ago, they were hard at work in that car, turned around after the crash of yesterday's race 1. I came down into the BN Racing pit, asked him if Toby had said anything about the car, and they said that he had not, and they said that's a good sign. He seems to be pretty happy with it, and in fact, they're enjoying the race so much that one of the crew members just reached in, grabbed a couple of cool drinks out of the cooler. They're enjoying watching their driver try to run down the leader.
Yep, it's 1.6 seconds, Michael Young, as they roar towards the keyhole.
We remember that from yesterday, though. They got within that 1.5, and then Oliver Askew checked out. We must remember, Oliver Askew has those brand new Cooper tires. Now Rinus VK with a good charge out of turn number 2, the keyhole, starting to close in on Toby Sowery, but Askew still has a big advantage.
Toby Sowery shades with that performance, that really nice opening season performance on the streets of St. Petersburg. This time, though, he wiggles a little bit at the exit of turn number 4. That's going to allow Rinus VK to make up a little ground and make it, let's call it 4 car lengths now, as Rinus VK also has a little issue at the exit of turn number 5. Things heating up, Nick, here at Mid-Ohio.
Yep, the front three, head through Thunder Valley. Oliver Askew, the first one to go down into the valley and then back up to the crest to set up for the carousel. His advantage was 1.6 seconds at the line over Toby Sowery. Then Rinus VK runs in third, and he was just about a second behind Sowery. So VK can use that extra horsepower, and we'll see if Askew can start to stretch out that lead. Visually, it looks like he is. It's another 1/10 of a second. Askew's got a 1.7 second advantage over Sowery. The battle, Michael, appears like it may still be for second.
It certainly looks that way as Toby Sowery tries to hold off Rinus VK. I know Toby wants to look forward, but it's hard to not look in those mirrors because Rinus VK has had a good keyhole portion of this circuit the last couple of times through. Matter of fact, it looks like VK might be on the button right now as he closes in on Toby Sowery.
If he is, he's not making up that much ground, and maybe just a hair. Sowery now at the entrance of turn number 4, much smoother that time for Toby Sowery. Rinus VK still hanging in there, about 4 or 5 car lengths. That extends now at the exit of turn number 4. Askew, Sowery, VK here at Mid-Ohio.
Kyle, how demoralizing it must it be for Sowery and VK to think, boy, we're starting to catch Askew, only to find out, oh, he's got another gear or two, and he wants to step on it and leave us. He's been able to do it all weekend.
I had a chance to talk to Oliver after the race yesterday and just ask him, were they feeding you information over the radio over that gap? And he told me he actually lost radio communication when Norman yesterday was catching up, and he said he just looked in his mirrors and said, that looks a little too close. So he definitely does have another gear that he wants to wait and save those tires, knowing that he's got those fresh tires to pull that gap. So really smart driving on his part.
That's fascinating because yesterday on the stopwatch, it was right about like, what, 1.53 or 1.54. And that's right when I think we all kind of perked up and said, uh-oh, we may have a race on our hands. So visually for Oliver Askew to recognize that, just looking in the side view mirrors behind him to know that the charge is coming, that's special stuff. That's awful impressive. So it's Oliver Askew, your leader here with 12 laps to go here at Mid-Ohio. That advantage, add another 10th to it. It's 1.8 seconds as Toby Sowery's concerned. Maybe back to holding off Rinus VeeKay for second and less about trying to run down our leader. In fact, it's about a 4 or 5 car length advantage as that continues to be a nice tight battle for the second spot. Those three have the podium locked down right now, Askew, Sowery, and VeeKay. Ryan Norman is about 2.6 seconds out of third. He runs in the 4th position. Then it's David Malukas in the 5th spot. Lucas Cole is 6th. Aaron Telitz appears to be running down his teammate to grab that 6th position. Then it's Dalton Kellett in 8th and Robert Mcguinness 5 laps down in 9th. Our race leader once again rocketing out of turn number 1. And Michael, it's a big lap. He just took it from 1.8 seconds to 2.1. Oliver Askew is done messing around.
I think Oliver can basically command the lead and the gap at will, but Toby Sowery now still trying to hold off Rinus VeeKay. VeeKay gets on the curbing ever so slightly. That will kick the left rear out. So now he lost a little bit of ground, does Rinus VeeKay. That will give a comfortable advantage for Toby Sowery through 3.
It's pretty comfortable, there's no question about it, but every time he looks in his mirrors, he sees the guy that runs second in points as VeeKay thinks turn 4 a little tight, hitting that curbing to the right-hand side, now up over the hill, but still not much change. Rinus VeeKay still trying to reel in Toby Sowery.
Yeah, there's no doubt here as we're approaching the final third of this race. You're starting to see drivers move around and look for different lines, especially through turns 4, 5, and 6, and just trying to find every little advantage. And Kyle, that's what racing's all about, trying to find. It's not oftentimes the tenths, it's the hundreds and thousands of seconds that can make a difference.
You said it, and I'm seeing Rinus experiment as much as he can right now to try and find any extra grip, any extra hundredth of a second to pull that gap close enough. He's still 1.3 seconds behind, so he's able to use some push to pass, but he only has 6 left in the bank, so he's holding on to those.
10 to go here at Mid-Ohio. Add 1 more 10th of a second to Oliver Askew's lead. It's 2.2 seconds. Sowery runs second. VeeKay is third. Good opportunity to go back to pit lane and check in once again with Rob Howden.
Yeah, Nick, I expected the headlines in the newspaper in Jupiter, Florida. We'll talk about a couple of guys winning races because Oliver Askew won yesterday. He's from Jupiter, Florida. The guy I'm with right now, Kyle Kirkwood, swept back-to-back again here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Kyle, what a run you're on right now. Momentum obviously so key in this program. 5 wins in the last 6 races, 4 straight pole positions. You've closed up the gap in the points. What a weekend for you and RP Motorsport USA here at Mid-Ohio.
It truly has been. In the past 3 weekends, man. I mean, we could have won all 6 races in the past 6 races. So it's we're having an incredible streak right now. Momentum's on our side. We're 13 points out from the championship lead, which just 2 weekends ago we're 45 points out. So we're closing it fast, and if we just keep this momentum going, we'll have a really good shot at the championship in the final round at Laguna, I think.
Second year for RP Motorsports here, second year for you in the road to Indy, but first year in Indy Pro. You had some struggles earlier in the year. You had the front wing knocked off at a couple of races. You got a penalty for a jump start at the Indianapolis Grand Prix weekend. Was there a time that you can pinpoint where things maybe kind of the switch got flipped? Was it you guys, maybe the team and you connecting in a different way? Road America, you swept there. Obviously the momentum from that, but what happened going to Road America? What was the change?
Well, I think really the switch was Indy. Even though we didn't have the showing, we started last and finished second and almost pressured for the win there. So that was the true switch for us, but we just didn't have the weekend. And then we went into Road America knowing we had a good car, and I think just that confidence kind of is what the turning point was for us at Road America. And now we had Toronto, and now here, it's like I said, we just got to keep this going.
You've got the success of the different tracks too. Natural terrain circuits you won. Of course, you swept at Road America. You swept here at Mid-Ohio. You probably could have swept. You had good speed on the street circuit at Toronto. We look forward now, a couple of weeks. You're going to be at Gateway on the Oval. That's a different discipline. RP Motorsport, of course, new last year, getting all the data. What are your thoughts going to the Oval?
Yeah, you know, we had one oval earlier this year. That was Lucas Oil Raceway Park, and there's a little bit of lack of knowledge with RP Motorsports because they are a European team. And they don't do any ovals over in Europe. That's only here in the U.S. that we run open wheel cars on ovals. So that's something they're not used to. And we qualified second off pole at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, but we didn't have the race car. And I think we've learned a lot. And they also qualified on pole last year at Gateway, which is a huge confidence booster for us. So if we can do the same thing and just knock off a solid finish, we don't. We're not here to try and win every single race. We just need to get solid finishes for the championship. So a solid finish there will be a huge plus in our book.
Congratulations on another great weekend.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Nick Yeoman, a guy we're all watching. Kyle Kirkwood, last year's USF 2000 winner, now coming right up in the championship chase. He's won 5 of the last 6 races here in the Indy Pro 2000 category, and looking forward to getting to Gateway at the end of August.
Yep, he has absolutely caught fire, and this is the time of year to do it. A weekend sweep for Kyle Kirkwood. It appears that Oliver Askew may very well be on his way to a weekend sweep. Still got 7 laps to go, but he's got a healthy 2.4 second lead over Toby Sowery with 7 laps to go. Of course, that's right when the mechanical gremlins creep up and you start hearing things. That's what I always hear. But weekend sweeps, Kyle, my memory isn't great. Did you have a weekend sweep a time or two in Indy Lights? And how big is that for these drivers, especially this time of year when you're eyeing championships?
It was interesting to listen to Kyle Kirkwood talking because he's definitely on a hot streak. And you see in racing, as much as any sport, there's so much momentum that comes with this sport and the confidence it takes for the drivers to feel comfortable in the car and have a lot of confidence every time you get behind the wheel. That's worth time behind the wheel of the car.
Yeah.
So we see Oliver Askew's obviously on a hot streak. He's been driving really consistently. He's hanging the car out, but he's in control. So anytime that you can get momentum and feel confident behind the wheel, it's going to help you in the championship.
And the beauty of the IndyCar championship we've got right now, I mean, it feels like every other week. One week it's Joseph Newgarden, who looks like he's going to be untouchable like he was in Iowa. The week before that, in Toronto, Simon Pagenaud makes a big statement at Road America. Nobody was even in Alexander Rossi's neighborhood. So in that championship, we're kind of waiting to see who's going to take stranglehold of that championship here down the stretch.
In the IndyCar championship, it's anybody's game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it's not just one guy that's confident. There's 5, 6, 7 guys that are confident going into the car every weekend, which makes it so exciting because anybody could be up front.
Oh, and to make it even more interesting, those 3 in the championship, they start 2nd, 3rd, and 4th today, right behind Will Power. Let's talk a little bit about that race. Will Power, big pole position. He was thrilled. It was a monster lap. It's rare in IndyCar that Firestone Fast 6 rolls around and you see one driver nearly 4/10 of a second faster than the rest of those guys. That was an amazing lap for Will Power.
It was an unreal lap. Did it on the very last lap, last one to come to the checkered. It blew me away to see such a lead over Rossi, who last year dominated this race. So amazing lap, but of all the people to do it, Will Power is the guy who's going to pull that off.
And the amazing thing I can't get over, we're now 5 races to go. Will Power hasn't won an IndyCar race yet this year. That's just something unheard of. It's been an un-Will Power-like season, but you know from competing against him and watching him for many, many years, on any given weekend, that guy can be tough to beat.
He's caught some bad luck this year for sure, and you could just see in his interview after qualifying yesterday how much it meant for him to start up front, having the year that he's had. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go out there with a lot of ferocity going for that win.
Yeah, can't wait. The live coverage of the Honda Indy 200 comes your way a little bit later today here on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. Mark Janes and Anders Krohn will have the call of that race. Our coverage starts at 3 o'clock Eastern. Michael Young, let's take a peek at that battle for second. Toby Sowery has it. Rinus VeeKay, last couple laps has been inching forward.
And he let it all go away here at turn number 1. The exit of the turn, Nick, he swung so wide, he kicked up dirt. He was within 2 car lengths. Dave, I believe it's about 10 car lengths now to 3.
Yeah, it's pretty much that, Michael. You're absolutely right. Although he continues to reel it in, perhaps a little red mist after what he just went through at the exit of turn number 1. Still about a 4 car length advantage. A much better exit off turn number 5, though, for Toby Sowery. So now make it a 6 car length advantage for second place.
Yep, he'll have to gather it back in, but certainly, Kyle, we saw those 2 cars really close up this last lap through Thunder Valley. I thought, boy, here comes Rinus VeeKay. Didn't think we'd have a race to talk about, but all of a sudden, it looks like that driver is not content with 3rd position here in the closing laps.
For sure, we've seen Rinus VeeKay pushing really hard these last couple laps, and he's pulled that gap right back now. one thing that I noticed was watching Toby Sowery is he started off really strong in those early laps, but that's going to hurt him at the end here because he's been getting pretty loose, and I think he's just hanging on.
4 laps to go. Sowery's advantage over VK just 0.8 of a second as they head to the keyhole.
Yeah, and Rena's starting to close that gap again. Toby Sowery takes his car through that BN Racing machine, the exit of the keyhole. He swings way wide as Rinus VK will pinch it down. Rinus got a great jump out of the keyhole now, closes it down to about 7 car lengths through 3.
Sowery just trying to hang on to at least matching his best finish of the season. A couple seconds already, but he's got his mirrors full right now. Just 2 car lengths the advantage over Rinus VK. VK's car got a little wiggly at the exit of turn number 4, gathers it back up through turn 5, now back downhill through turn 6. This is heating up here, Nick Yeoman.
Yep, thousands and thousands of race fans there on the hills of turns 4 and 5 and 6, watching those drivers start to duel. Kyle, he is charging 3 car lengths behind Sowery.
Rinus is driving the daylights out of that car right now, and he wants the second place. I think he sees this championship starting to get a little too far out of grasp, so taking the second place could at least mitigate some of the damage if Oliver comes home P1.
Dave, first, looks like we just had a change for the 6th position here with 3 to go.
Yeah, I thought Aaron Telitz might just be content to kind of hold off Dalton Kellett and let Lucas Cole do his thing for 6th place, but instead, Telitz got around his teammates. So Bilardi around a Bilardi here at Mid-Ohio with just a couple laps remaining.
3 laps to go. Oliver Askew's lead is 4 seconds as he is trying to go back-to-back and win here at Mid-Ohio. Actually, it's honestly back-to-back-to-back because he won the 2nd race at Toronto. But Dave, we continue to watch that battle for 2nd. VK about 3 car lengths behind Sowery as they really get sideways trying to whoa those cars down into 4.
Under braking, Aaron Telitz close to within a half a car length behind Toby Sowery. Then Sowery with a better exit again off turn number 5. But I'm telling you what, the man from the Netherlands, he's right there here in these closing laps.
Yeah, Rinus VK is really hustling that car, and Kyle, we saw trying to dive as deep as possible into turn 4 without overcooking it.
He's using that push to pass every lap on that back straightaway, so he's staying right on his grill, probably hoping that Toby makes a mistake because that'll be his best opportunity to get by.
And he's got it timed up perfectly. He's got 2 more opportunities to use it, and as Oliver Askew streaks across the start-finish line, we have 2 laps to go. This one looks like it's in the books in terms of who's going to win it, but 2nd place is still up for grabs. Michael Young, Toby Sowery, Rinus VK, they roar out of turn number 1.
Oliver Askew with that car control already through the keyhole. Now Rinus VK trying to close in on Toby Sowery, the number 2 car. Toby Sowery has that 2nd position. Rinus really closes in, exiting the keyhole, tries to hit that button again. He's got it down to about 4 car lengths. Looked like he got a real good jump out of the key.
It's a 3,000-foot backstretch here at Mid-Ohio, and Rinus VK has just about owned every time that they've gone down it using that push to pass. Didn't close in nearly as much that time. Perhaps Toby Sowery learned from that mistake just a lap prior. Still about a 2 car length advantage, Sowery over VK.
Kyle, how many car lengths back do you think Rinus VK can be the most exiting turn number 2 here on this final lap to have a chance?
It really depends on what kind of exit Sowery's getting out of that last corner, because we're seeing his rear tires have been falling off pretty heavily these last few laps. So if he just gets a little too much wheel spin and VK can get a good exit out of the keyhole, he can be 5-6 cars back and still be able to get alongside him. So he saved his push to pass in that last lap, so he still has 2 in the bank here. Don't be surprised if he's going to use one of those going into the keyhole, so he's really, really close, using his last one to make the pass happen in 4.
Michael Young, we're on the final lap. Oliver Askew has already passed you, but one final opportunity for Rinus VK to grab 2nd.
And Rinus VK really tried to outbrake Toby Sowery, did a masterful job of it. Sowery's back end steps out ever so slightly. Oliver Askew already through 3, but that battle still for 2nd. Rinus VK down to 3 car lengths with Toby Sowery.
No question, Oliver Askew is a big Toby Sowery fan right now. He's thinking obviously about the win here today, but also the overall season-long points championship. He's going to gain a lot more points if Rinus VK can still remain in 3rd place. Right now, it's about a 2 car length advantage. Sowery over Rinus VK.
Yep, VK got as close as he has the last 5 or 6 laps at the top of the hill, and he closed it to within 1 or 2 car lengths, but just couldn't get alongside. Meanwhile, though, up front, it is going to be another win for Oliver Askew. Out of the final corner, it's win number 6 for Oliver Askew. He streaks across the start-finish line to sweep the weekend here at Mid-Ohio. Second will go to Toby Sowery as he holds off Rinus VK by 0.6 of a second. Your podium today, Askew, Sowery, and VK. The Cleveland native Ryan Norman will finish in the 4th position. We wait for the rest of the drivers to make their way across the start-finish line. David Malukas streaks across the line. He'll come home in 5th. And then it's Aaron Tielitz in 6th. Lucas Cole doing everything he can out of this final corner. It looks like he will hold off Dalton Kellett. Cole across the line by just a couple car lengths, 0.4 of a second to take home the 7th position. Dalton Kellett will finish 8th, and Robert Mcguinness comes home in 9th. Kyle, again, another dominant performance for Oliver Askew. Exactly what you need to see this time of year to win a championship. And, man, what a hot streak. 3 straight wins and a weekend sweep here at Mid-Ohio.
And what a perfect time to do it as the season's coming to a close. He's just taken a stranglehold of this championship. Unbelievable driving this weekend. He seemed like he was in control no matter what the situation was. So hats off to him for really great driving. And I also want to shout out Toby Sowery after what happened yesterday. Obviously getting that team together, putting that car back. To come home second is just an amazing finish for him.
And to know that, hey, Rinus VK is right there. He's got the push to pass to use to hold him off. That says a lot about his charge. Both of those drivers really entertaining here in the final couple laps of this race.
He showed a lot of poise being able to hold him off, not making any mistakes, especially seeing how loose that car was at the end. I know Rinus was giving it everything he had, so great driving by all top 3 drivers.
And as a race car driver for Toby Sowery, after you damage a car yesterday in an accident, the best way to reward your team, I would imagine, is to at least bring home a trophy and let those guys celebrate a podium finish.
That's exactly right. And he did everything I think he could this race. Obviously, Oliver was just in a completely different class in his own. But Toby, great drive. And also I want to shout out his teammate, David Malukas.
Yeah.
He drove a really good race, making passes. He obviously benefited from some of the incident on the first lap, but he backed it up by making some passes into turn 4, bringing home a top 5 finish.
Yeah, all told, it's a nice day for BN Racing to have both of those cars in the top 5. Of course, this is the first year for that organization to compete full-time in Indy Lights, and that is quite a task to put a team together for run 2 cars. So for them to both end up in the top 5, a big tip in the cap to them. Again, our podium is Oliver Askew, Toby Sowery, and Rinus VK. The championship lead now for Oliver Askew. When he came in this weekend, it was 25 points, and now it is up to 45 over Rinus VK. So he nearly doubles his points lead. That's how great of a weekend it was here at Mid-Ohio. Ryan Norman is now 83 points back. Sowery is now 99 points back. And with 5 races to go, that almost looks insurmountable with just how good Oliver Askew has been. It is another win. Again, his 6th of the season, another podium finish as he's now been on the podium for 11 of 13 races. That is absolutely staggering. We will hear from our winner momentarily.
Yeah, it was good for us. We saved a set of tires there, so guys at Index Invest and Andretti Autosport did a fantastic job to get the car ready, and it was absolutely on rails, especially the last half of the race. And we dominated this weekend. That's exactly what we needed, 45-point lead, and on to St. Louis.